What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Switch Podcast, man. I'm your host, Q1 Humphreys. And the NBA draft just wrapped up a couple hours ago, or maybe not even an hour ago. The second round of NBA draft. The draft was a 2-day event this year for the first time, and I believe history. The first round was last night, Wednesday night, and the second round was this evening, this afternoon, Thursday afternoon. And I want to talk about who I believe were the three biggest winners of the NBA draft. This is the Switch Podcast, three biggest winners. So if you believe that a team is more deserving of a biggest winner, let me know in the comment section. I will gladly converse with you, and we can talk it out. We can hash it out. This is what the podcast is. This ain't just me talking to y'all. Y'all can talk back to me. I'm gonna reply to y'all in the comments. But let's jump right into it. I want to talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, coming into the draft, Minnesota Timberwolves just made the conference finals. They exceeded their expectations from coming into the season. They knocked off the defending champs in a Game 7 in Denver, which is very tough. And they ended up losing an eventual 5 games against the Dallas Mavericks. But, me personally, I didn't think they were going to do anything. I knew they had 27 pick. I said, okay, I got 27 pick. Okay, let's see what they do. But I was shocked. They traded up to get Rob Dillingham from Kentucky with the number 8 pick. And I don't even think that's just the biggest win. Of course, that is a huge W. But their original pick, which was 27, they used that to get Terrence Shannon. Terrence Shannon, I don't know if y'all know him, one of the top scorers in the country this past season. So I look at Rob Dillingham, 15.2 points per game last season at Kentucky, shot 47.3% from the field, 44% from the 3-point line, all while coming off the bench. So imagine how his numbers would have been if he would have started and got more usage. But him and Terrence Shannon, a guy that averaged 23 points per game last year, shooting 47.5% from the field, 36% from the 3-point line. Not the worst, but he showed that he can shoot the 3-ball. I watched a decent bit of him during the NCAA tournament. He's a guy that likes to get downhill, get to the basket, get to the free throw line, get to his mid-range jumper. He can shoot the 3, but that's not exactly what he wants to get to off rip. So, looking at Timberwolves, this is a team that averaged 32 points per game off the bench. They averaged 32 points bench points per game last year, and their bench ranked 21st in the NBA in terms of offensive rating. And I look at these two pickups and I say that's an immediate fit. Rob Dillingham was a firecracker off the bench for Kentucky last year. I think eventually he can become a starting point guard that can come in and average, roughly 20 plus points per game in today's game with the way it's called and the way it's defended. But I know next year he can have an immediate impact. You got Mike Conley starting. Mike Conley's gonna start. He's gonna start because he's the veteran. He kind of keeps that ship moving as a starter, as the guy that's got all this experience. But Rob Dillingham, I believe he is the perfect backup. When your starters go sit down and Rob can come in and give you a quick 8, you can go on a quick 8-0 run by himself. And I think that would be big. And I think you add a 8-point run by a bench player in this Mavericks series, a couple of those games would have went a different way. There were several games in that series where they were just going scoring droughts. They just could not put the ball in the basket. And then on top of that, your bench guys are great defenders, but they're not the best scorers. But now you can keep those great defenders like a Nickeil Alexander, a Naz Reid off the bench. And you could bring in a Rob Dillingham or even a Terrence Shannon to come in and be that guy on offense that keeps the pace moving and can make easy shots for himself and for his teammates. So I like this move. I like this move a lot for the Timberwolves. Next team I'm looking at, the San Antonio Spurs. Now it's kind of ironic that the Spurs and the Timberwolves are winners because Rob Dillingham was initially picked by the Spurs, and I was lit. I was excited about the pick because I'm thinking about a 1-5 pick and roll with Rob and Wemby. You imagine how fast Rob is coming off a handoff from Wemby. Like, it would have been insane. But even without that pick, the Spurs had the 4th pick and the 8th pick, which they would use on Rob before they traded him to the Timberwolves. They used the 4th pick on 6'6" guard out of UConn, Stephon Castle. He's actually from Newton County. He went to Newton High School, not too far from where I am recording this video right now. But 6'6" guard Stephon Castle out of UConn, averaged 11, roughly a little over 11 points per game. Shot 27% from 3. Yeah, he can definitely improve that, but that's not why he was picked. He was picked because of his defense. Now, this guy is a guy that is a lockdown defender. I told y'all how great of a scorer Terrence Shannon was in college. Well, they put Stephon Castle on Terrence Shannon in the tournament, and he shut him down. He shut him down. Stephon Castle might be the best perimeter defender in this draft. And looking at the Spurs, I think that's what they need. You got Wembanyama, who some would say should have won Defensive Player of the Year this season, averaged a little over 4 blocks and a couple steals. But I think what they needed was definitely a point guard. Now, Stephon Castle wasn't a guy that had the ball in his hands a bunch. I think he only averaged a little under 3 assists a game at UConn. He didn't have the ball too much in his hands at UConn, but I believe he's a guy that can develop into a decent playmaker, a decent playmaker enough to get the ball to Wembanyama. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, his defense brings him to the dance. His defense is what got him in as the 4th pick. I think about playing up against the Spurs, and they have this 7'4", 7'5" monster in the paint. And then they have this lockdown defender, big, strong guard lockdown defender, defending the point of attack. So I think that was big for them, getting a point of attack defender to help defend other teams. You know, because we watched several guards really have their way with the Spurs, even though Wembanyama was in the paint, because they did not have a great defender out there defending those guards. And I think him developing into a point guard, into a true facilitator, is big, because last year Wembanyama he won Rookie of the Year, ran away with it, had a really good second half of the season, but his play didn't really take over. His play didn't really, I guess, transform until they started playing Trey Jones at point guard. They started the season out with Jeremy Sochan or however you say his name, at point guard, and they wanted to experiment with that, and it did not work. And Wembanyama's stats kind of suffered for that, because if you look at the stats at the end of the season versus the beginning of the season, they are way different. The margin is way different, at least from the offensive standpoint, because they actually got a guy that is making sure that this freak that we have on our team is getting the basketball. And I think if Stephon Castle can do that, he will be fine at the point guard position. Jay Billis, who y'all may know him. He's one of the I would say analysts for college basketball. He compares Stephon Castle to Jrue Holiday. So if he can become that Jrue Holiday, then the Spurs have a great draft pick and a great point guard to go into the future with their 7'4", 7'5" beast. Not to mention they have a couple draft picks in the next couple seasons from the Atlanta Hawks, who may be in the lottery for the next couple seasons. The last team I want to talk about the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, Memphis Grizzlies, they wanted to trade up and get Donovan Clingan, but they had to settle with Zach Edey. Now, Zach Edey was a guy that I did not think would go this early. Going top 10 was not on my bingo card for Zach Edey. But looking at the Memphis Grizzlies, this is something they desperately needed. They needed not a point guard. I'm sorry. They needed a center. They need a center that can. They just need a center. You know, Jaren Jackson, he's 6'10", 6'11", but he does not play that way. So him playing the 5 puts your team at a disadvantage, because he's not a good rebounder. He's not the same. I don't even think he's the same rim protector he was a couple years ago when he won Defensive Player of the Year. So you get a Zach Edey, move Jaren back to his natural position at the power forward position, and you work from there. Now, Zach Edey is a guy that dominated the college game for really the majority of his college career, but especially these past 2 seasons, dominated the college game. And I think he's going to get better. You know, I think this season he's going to be I see a Zubac for this season, but down the line, a couple years down the line, he may be a really good center, because he has touch, he has power, he has everything really he needs to be successful in this game. Now, perimeter defense, of course, that's what all big guys are going to struggle with, perimeter defense. But with the guys you have over there, you still got Ja, you got Marcus Smart, you got Desmond Bane. I can't really think of everybody that's on that Grizzlies roster, but you have guys that can help out on the defensive end, or just do your job. Funnel them to Edey. He's 7 foot down there. Funnel them to Edey, and defense will be fine for them. Honorable mentions. I got a couple honorable mentions. My first honorable mention is the Los Angeles Lakers, and it is not because Bronny James was drafted to the Lakers. I'm happy for him, but that is not why I have them as an honorable mention. I have them as an honorable mention because they took Dalton Knecht as their 17th overall pick. And Dalton Knecht one of these guys. I talked about Rob Dillingham and Sharon Shannon earlier being top scorers in college. Dalton Knecht had a claim to be the best scorer in college, average close to 25 points per game, if not more than 25 points per game last year in college at Tennessee. He's league ready. He's a guy that can step on the NBA floor today and give you he can produce. Defensively, not the best defender, but I think they have pieces around him to where they can hide him at a decent level. The Oklahoma City Thunder, Nikola Topic, I love the pickup, 6'6" guard. He can run the offense. He's from overseas. I like this pick because they just traded away Josh Giddey, and I think Nikola Topic will just fill right in with where Josh Giddey was. He has developed a jump shot, just like Josh Giddey had developed a jump shot, but I think they'll figure it out. Okay, see, they have a very good future in store for them. They have a bunch of draft picks next year, and they're already the first seed this past season, so the sky's the limit for them. But that's all I got for y'all, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, share with y'all folks, man. We gotta talk about Zachary Richardson and my Atlanta Hawks drafting him first overall. I'm gonna do some more research on him because if I get in front of a camera and talk about how I feel right now, it's not gonna be the best video. So we got that. Free agency starting up real soon. Summer League starts up next week, I believe. Sometime next week, maybe the week after, I believe. So we got a bunch of stuff. WNBA still popping off. Angel Reese is taking on Asia Wilson tonight. That should be a very good game. Very good matchup between two of the two top rebounding players in the league. So a lot of stuff to talk about in basketball, man. Stay tuned. We got a lot of stuff coming up. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share with y'all folks. I'm gonna say it again. Share with y'all folks. We going up this summer. We grinding this summer. But we out of here. Yeah. Oh, I dropped the dang.